Community newspapers today to talk to you a little bit about the building boom in Miami Beach over the past several years. Our city is one of the most beautiful and magical places in the world, and many developers would like to come here and build large condominium towers, luxury towers, or hotel rooms. And right now in our city code, if you want to increase the amount of density or height that you're currently allocated, these projects have to go to a voter referendum. And many times they don't pass because our streets are congested already, and a lot of residents don't want to see a lot of big development on our small island. So what have we been doing? We have been selling off our public rights of way in exchange for money, and then we're giving them building rights. It's a way of circumventing our city code. And today I am very lucky to have with me a former Miami Beach commissioner. He's also a real estate investor and broker of Streamline Properties and one of the founders of Miami Beach United. I have so much respect for him, and a real estate attorney, Saul Gross. Welcome, Saul.
Hello, Kristen. How are you?
Good. I'm so pleased that you are here today. I really feel like you're one of the pioneers of South Beach. When did you first get down? When did you first come to Miami Beach, Saul?
1984. So what is that now? 36 years ago? Long time ago. But I did the first gut renovations of apartment buildings in the Flamingo Park neighborhood at a time when we didn't know if people would want to rent on South Beach. It was mostly Marielito. So the beach has certainly come a long way since that time.
Has it, or has it gone full circle to where the Marielitos are?
No, it's come a long way. I mean, look, I would say that the height of the interesting time of the beach probably was in the 90s, late 80s to mid 90s. But look, cities have to continually reinvent themselves, and the trick is to do it with style that's compatible with what our brand is.
Well, it's funny. Well, interesting is all relative. Everybody always talks about the glory days, the 90s, the Renaissance. I know that when you came down, you and you had a lot of interest in Washington Avenue, and we've kind of come to a place. I clipped something because I wanted to read it. I wanted to read about the before we get into the zoning. I was so shocked about these three young tourists from Ohio, college students, who came down to Miami Beach on Washington Avenue, and they were held up in broad daylight. And the girl, this is what she said. She said, "I fell and he came on top, like over me. And he was like, 'Give me your purse and give me your phone.' And he had the gun right by my head," said one of the victims as she held back tears. "I gave it to him, and then he ran away and went to chase him. And I crawled underneath a car to hide." We've got tourists hiding under cars to get away from armed robbers.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not funny.
Not funny. I mean, I chuckled, but
yeah, unfortunately, South Beach has become a magnet for criminals who are not visiting our city to spend their money and enjoy what the beach has to offer, but they're looking to prey upon tourists and even locals, who are here to have a good time, and they're ruining it for everybody else. To put it mildly, I mean, it really does have to stop. I know that the police had set up a special contingent for a limited period of time where they did have a substantially increased show of force, and that was maybe, I don't know if it was a funding issue, but I understand now that the commission is going to provide whatever funding is necessary to reinstate that increased force, which I think is positive.
No, I heard that they were going to. I'm sorry, I have to share this thing so that everybody knows. Ugh. Can you do this for me, Tommy? I can't do it. So that everybody knows what's happening. And I know that we're going to increase the amount of police officers. But what's shocking to me is while we have these shootings at our restaurants and a place that's very unsafe, at the same time, we're experiencing a renaissance with these very upscale luxury properties, the Amman Hotel, now this Seagull property, which is one of the reasons why we spoke today. which is the Bulgari Hotel, it's two extremes. We have ultra luxury and then getting held up in broad daylight.
Yeah, look, it's more than two extremes. It's a little more complicated than that. I mean, the crowd that was in Miami Beach over the last 2, 3, 4 weeks around the holidays during the daytime, was actually quite nice. Our store owners, for the first time since the pandemic started, had business and customers to shop in their businesses, and they were all smiles that, commerce was finally coming back to the beach. The problem is late at night, when the activity changes, retailers close, and it's really just the food and beverage establishments and the people who are up to no good start to appear mostly at those hours. I don't think you hear about it quite as much during the day, or the early part of the evening. I don't know what time did that incident happen that you were just talking about.
Oh, the holdup was a breakfast time on
Breakfast?
Washington Avenue. Breakfast. So
Like breakfast, as in people were still out from the night before, or?
No, I think they were some girls from Ohio that were going out to have breakfast, and they got held up, and one of them ended up crawling under a car. But it's
Yeah,
a real
I
serious.
would say that's pretty unusual. Most of the crime, from what I can tell, happens, pretty much later at night.
During the party atmosphere.
Yeah.
So anyway, we go through this. We talk about it all the time. We never quite seem to fix the problem. But if these extra police really are fixing the problem, hopefully we'll get them funded. I know.
I will give the mayor credit. I think that he's pretty fed up with it, and he's been spearheading the effort to kind of reimagine South Beach, and the commission's taken some substantial actions to try and do that. And the city's hired Bernard Ziskovich, who's doing some planning work with Ocean Drive group that the mayor has put together. And, I'm hopeful that they'll come up with some creative ideas to, I would say the most important thing in my mind is for them to figure out how to make the hotels successful on their own merits without having to rely on the low-end bars. That's really the dynamic that has to change.
It's called the convention center. So hopefully when we get the convention center up and running.
Well, the convention center is running. You're talking about the hotel, the convention center hotel?
No, I mean the convention center in general. When we start to activate the convention center again, we're going to flood the city with convention goers, and then our room rates will go up, and we won't have this, partying crowd that we normally do.
Yeah, I agree. I
was talking, because a lot of we have these very low room rates also up and down Collins Avenue at $40. I was very worried about the new hotels being built on Washington Avenue, but I had breakfast yesterday with Andrew Resnick, who has been building these hotels on Washington Avenue, is very excited about Washington Avenue with their bid. And he said that the new properties, because they were more expensive and the build out was more expensive, the actual room rate is going to be much higher than a room rate on Collins Avenue. So maybe we really do need to change part of the zoning on Collins to make it more attractive for people to come in and refurbish these hotels and reimagine Collins Avenue too.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the future is going to be to link hotels on Collins to the hotels on Ocean Drive, much the way the Betsy did that very successfully. And if you can get the room count from 20, 30, 40 rooms up to closer to 75 to 100 rooms, the economics now are in favor of actually running a hotel and providing hospitality services. I mean, part of the reason I think that there's such crime right now is that there's so few tourists, and the hotels have to lower their rate so much to attract any kind of customer to stay afloat. I mean, the hospitality industry nationwide has been very hard hit by the pandemic.
Decimated.
And so, Miami Beach is no exception, and it's sometimes a race to the bottom to try and rent the rooms as cheaply as possible just to get some revenue, and that attracts a very bad crowd. So, there are a lot of factors besides just the bars that are, that everyone is pointing to.
Well, my heart goes out to all the people that live in that area of the city who are afraid, especially the senior citizens who might not want to walk on Washington Avenue after seeing, people being held up at gunpoint. The mayor, by the way, he said he doesn't send his children, nor does he go down to that area. So he's not going there in his city.
Yeah, well,
we got to do more.
I think he was trying to make a point. I've seen the mayor in South Beach, and probably more during the day than at night.
Oh,
let's put it that way.
Hey, Saul, Kevin Green wrote here, the girls were attacked at 7:30 a.m. And the time Italian shooting in the restaurant was at 2:15 p.m. So these things are happening now in broad daylight. And Kevin, I know you live down there in the historic district, but I wasn't. And the licking was at 8:30. Yes, there was a third incident. So we had a lot of incidences last week. But the reason that I had you on today, even though I had to mention the crime and I had to read the idea of that tourist crawling under the car to get away from that perpetrator was really scary. There is a project coming up now for a vote this next month, which is the Seagull Hotel, which is going to be redeveloped into a very beautiful, supposedly beautiful project, the Bulgari Hotel. Everybody knows Bulgari jewelry. It's a wonderful luxury brand, internationally renowned. But in order to build this hotel, they're saying that they do not have enough density, correct? And
well, they're saying they would like more density. I wouldn't necessarily say they don't have enough density. What property owner doesn't want more density?
So across the city, when these property owners are coming in, whether it was Ocean Terrace, wanting to build more after we voted no in a referendum, or David Martin paying $10 million for the street end at 88th and Collins, where he was building his luxury condominium tower, or even down on 5th Street and Alton, where we sold off the right of way. This really violates the Miami Beach Charter, does it not, Saul? Can you explain why?
Yeah, 100%. The charter specifically says that if the commission wants to increase the amount of square footage that property owners can build on their properties beyond what's allowed under the zoning code, then they have to get voter approval to do that. And they have not been doing that. They've discovered what they think is an end run around the charter. And that is, instead of specifically just increasing the floor area ratio, which is how many square feet you can build a building for each square foot of land, instead of just increasing that, say, from 2.0 to 2.5, which clearly would require approval of the voters under the charter, they're pretending to vacate a roadway. They're not even vacating a roadway. I mean, legally they are, but they give an easement back to the public to travel over the road. So nothing has really changed other than they've increased the size of the development parcel of the adjoining property owner, thereby allowing them to build more square footage than they otherwise could have. So, I mean, I'm strongly against this. I think that it's clearly a violation of the charter. The charter says that they can't increase FAR or by any other means, this is certainly a by any other means situation.
Is that language in the charter, by any other means?
It says that, by any other means, yes.
So how is the city attorney getting away with giving these legal opinions that are obviously in violation of the charter? You have to trust the attorney that they're giving you the right opinion, right?
Yeah, I've had some strong emails back and forth with Raul, who I respect very much, and I actually think he's doing a very good job as filling in the city manager's position in terms of cracking down on some of the outlaw restaurants and bars on Ocean Drive and revoking licenses and trying to restore some law and order. But on this issue, I strongly disagree with the position that he's taken as a city attorney. And frankly, I think that many attorneys work for their clients, and the city attorney works for the city commission, and he's been instructed to provide an opinion which I consider legally dubious, and he's doing his best to defend, but I don't think it's defensible.
Well, what is his defense when you say by any other means? Raul, and Raul Aguila is that he was the city attorney. He's now a city manager, but this is coming from Raul's opinion, now backed up by city attorney of Miami Beach, Rafael Paz. How are they defending this violation of our charter, selling the streets to circumvent our right to vote on these projects?
They're simply saying that by any other means doesn't apply because they're technically not increasing FAR. They're increasing the buildable size of the lot, and that's not FAR. But the result is the same, and it's clear that they're violating the spirit of the charter at a minimum, and I think they're violating the clear intent of the charter. So, you know, the problem is for resident, we actually met with an attorney to ask him if he would sue the city, which I really don't want to sue the city that I love, but you know, I feel like the city's really taking advantage of this loophole that they've created. This is the Bulgari Hotel. This is like the 6th or 7th time that they're seizing upon this stratagem to clearly increase the square footage that can be built on the lot. And, you know, some of these projects, the operator is fabulous, like you said, Bulgari, but, you know, that's not a justification for violating the charter. It just isn't. We'd all love to see Bulgari come here. We would all love to see, you know, the kind of high-end operators that, you know, are looking to come here. Height is always an issue. FAR is an issue. You know, the trick is to create the right balance so that we don't lose our identity, that the city doesn't become too dense. And frankly, that what we don't end up doing is allowing sellers to sell their property for more money because they're able to increase, they know that they can tell the buyer, well, you can get the commission to vacate the roadway, you could build more, therefore I can get a little bit more money when I sell my property. It's not our job to maximize every dollar that a seller can get when they sell their property.
So this vacating or selling off of the development rights of the streets is not an exception anymore. It is becoming the rule. I guarantee you, if you sued, just like they sued on the minimum wage and they sued on the short-term rentals, you would win, because I think we've had a lot of poor opinions coming out of the city attorney.
Truthfully, I don't want to sue the city. What I would rather the city commission agreed to put the question on the ballot in November.
I can't.
This is going to be an election year issue, right? There are people running for a commission seat in November, and we should ask all of the candidates who are running for the commission seat what their position is on this, and we should ask the current commission to place this question on the ballot to clarify it once and for all. And see what the voters say. If they want to try and amend the city charter to permit this, put it on the ballot, and let's put it up to a vote.
That's see what the residents really think. For whatever reason, I don't believe that's going to be happening. I've spoken to a few commissioners who are very excited. I think this item sailed through finance. The developer offered $5 million for the right of way. The city appraised, I don't know how they just appraised a street that they're not going to use, but it was appraised at...
No, they appraised it as if it were incorporated into the site and can be developed. That's how they appraised it.
Oh, it was appraised at $7.5 million.
Yeah.
So, and now we're getting a teaser, which is we're going to use that money to renovate the Byron Carlisle, which I want more than anything else. And I would love to be able to drive past the Byron Carlisle Theater in 5 years' time, renovated, and say, wow, our activism led to saving this theater. But the circumvention of the city charter is worrisome because of Ocean Drive and Loomis Park. And even though Ocean Drive is not where we want it to be right now, it has to remain we have to maintain the architectural integrity of Ocean Drive. And if we're giving away street ends everywhere, it won't go to referendum, and they'll just sell off Ocean Drive. We sold Ocean Terrace, right? What do you think Ocean Drive is worth?
Well, I wouldn't characterize it that way because the public is still driving over the roadway that they've deeded to the adjacent property owner. So if you drive down the street, you don't know the difference between the city having deeded the property and taken an easement back for the public versus the roadway being the roadway. It's a legal fiction. That's what makes it all the worse. There's no real, it's just a sleight of hand trick to increase the FAR and to give the commissioners a pot of money that they can dole out to, you know, their favorite cause, like Byron Carlisle, which is certainly a worthy cause, but you know, that's not how you want to raise your money, in my opinion, in the city, by violating the city charter.
So you're friends with the mayor, Mayor Gelber. You haven't had a coffee with him and said, you know, hey Dan, you're a U.S. attorney, you know very well what when you have this legal language and what the spirit of the Miami Beach Charter was. You were at one point defending.
Let's just say that the mayor and I don't see eye to eye on this issue at all. And, you know, he's taking the advice of his attorney, the city attorney, and that's what he is sticking by. And I wouldn't expect him to be one of the votes to put this question on the ballot in November. But there are 4 commissioners that I hope would put the question on the ballot, and you know, I think we all know who those might be. And I think.
Do you want to name those commissioners who you think will put it on the
ballot? You know, I would hope that Commissioner Steinberg and Gongora. I hope Commissioner Minor would put it on, and I hope Commissioner Samuelin would put it on. So, I mean, those are the 4 votes that could be possibly obtainable, although I've had some very heated arguments with Commissioner Samuelin about this issue. And, you know, he campaigned on this issue when he ran, when they wanted to increase the FAR on Ocean Terrace. But now that he's on the commission on this issue, he likes being able to make deals to, you know, improve projects. But I mean, in exchange for granting additional FAR via the vacating of the road. But that's the job of the Historic Preservation Board and the Design Review Board under the charter. You know, that's not really what the commission is supposed to be doing. So, you know, I'm hoping that if we can get those 4 to put the question on the ballot, then we can hear what the voters have to say about it, since they're supposed to have been voting on this all along for every project.
Well, as of January 9th, I'm officially allowed to lobby. I mean, I guess I was before as a resident, but I know there's like a 2-year lobbying window, and I would lobby to put this on the agenda.
Okay, because I think let's talk about that off the air. I have to jump off, but you know, I think that this is really the challenge of our times to get this question on the ballot in November.
All right. Well, thank you for doing this interview today, Saul, and we'll look forward to working with you to put something on the ballot so that we stop the circumvention of the Miami Beach Charter. Thanks, Saul.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay. That is it. Oh, so as you can see, we've spoken to former commissioner, co-founder of the Miami Beach United, real estate attorney, and a real estate investor, Saul Gross. If anybody wants to log in right now to give their thoughts on what's happening right now, I think you can. Otherwise, I will probably be finishing this podcast. But it's very interesting to see how our mayor and the commissioners blatantly want to violate the Miami Beach Charter, and residents are very upset about it. And I know that this Bulgari Hotel vacation of the street, selling the street to circumvent the city charter to get extra square footage, is definitely going to pass at the commission level. And it's very disturbing. So hopefully you will come out to the meeting, speak up about this, and give your support for putting on the ballot this circumvention of our governing document, the Miami Beach City Charter.